What's up, unstoppable ballers? Welcome to the channel. If you haven't already, hit like, hit subscribe so you don't miss out any high quality content we send your way every single week, every single day. So let's talk about a concept I'm noticing in the industry. The thing I'm noticing is a lot of players, a lot of athletes across all sports, not just basketball, rugby, soccer, you name it. Why is it that they're okay with sitting out during an injury because they're forced to? Like the doctor says, you got to sit out, you need to get surgery, you're forced to do those things. Why is it that people are okay with that, but not okay with taking time off from their sport to actually turn their weaknesses into their greatest strengths? That takes time. So you do that in a controlled manner, in controlled situations, and slowly build into more unpredictable situations in your training. Then you slowly rewire how you run, how you jump, how you change direction, how you throw, how you hit, such that when you go back to your sport, now you're able to play your sport for a long, long time. Okay, all the way into your 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, all the way to your 100 years old. What does that mean for your career? What does that mean for your earning potential in your career? What does that mean for the ability for you to accomplish your goals? What does it mean for your mental health? What does it mean for the things that matter to you? These are the things that we want you to think about. Now, why is it that people are okay with sitting out because they're forced to versus sitting out proactively so that they can spend the rest of their career having great performance and also not suffering the turmoil of injury over and over? So let's talk about this today. Okay. Now, if you're watching this right now, I'm gonna pull this up right here. Give me a blank sheet right here. Then chances are that you may be someone that has adopted this mindset. Okay. And now most players, okay, when it comes to injuries, okay, they are okay with sitting out because they have to, right? They have no choice. Forced to sit out. Whenever there's an injury, you're forced to sit out. Okay. But if you take the proactive route and you say, yo, I'm going to take some time to really understand why these injuries happen in the first place. Most players, most athletes throw a fit. They're like, oh, hell no. How do I get my shots in? Now, here are the things that come up. They say stuff like this. If they do a proactive sit out, how do I get my shots in? How do I practice? I'm going to get bad at my sport. I do it for my mental health. You name it. My sport is my life. Okay, these are the things I hear people saying. I'm gonna make a little color here for you guys. Here are the things that people say. They freak out, right? But what's strange is when they're forced to sit out, this paradigm right here, okay, because of an injury, they're okay with it. All of a sudden, everyone's like, yeah, that makes sense. It's part of the game. It's part of how things work. We got to wait for our body to heal, wait for the body to get healthy, whatever the hell that means. No one's really broken down what it means to be healthy. They're just, they're saying I have to get healthy. Okay, they're saying stuff like that. I'm gonna move it over here. Okay, boom, boom, boom. Okay, they're saying stuff like this. They're saying, I'll come back stronger. And of course, how long till I can play? You name it, right? So this is the kind of common mentality we're seeing with athletes right here. They are totally okay with doing this when they're forced to sit out versus proactive sitting out so they can extend their career for as long as possible. Now, most people always wait until something drastically goes wrong. There's not enough impetus to actually change. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to adopt this personality. That's just the mass consciousness. It's how most people think in athletics. And part of it is because of a few things. Okay. Part of it is the culture of athletics. Think about the culture of athletics. Okay. The culture of athletics is you are seen as what you can throw up on the board. Okay, so you're basically a stat. Stats. Okay, that's number one. You're also seen as, are you a contributor to the organization? So if you're playing for an organization, it could start off as high school, AAU, it could be college, it could be D1, D2, D3, it could be G League, NBA, it could be pro overseas, it doesn't matter. Can you contribute to the organization so the organization has a higher chance of winning? So they can make money. So they see you as dollar signs. Okay, I see you as dollar signs. That's the other thing. All right. The other thing is the season itself lends to pressure. Okay. The season typically is back-to-back games. Okay, so they want you to practice, they want you to be with the team. You have back-to-back games. If you make the playoffs, now your body's demanded more and more and more and more. You're demanding so much from your body. And most of the strength and conditioning organizations, here's the truth, guys, strength and conditioning organizations don't take the time to actually build out what it takes to be resilient and injury-proof in your sport. They're just thinking, let's get them strong and fast at the expense of their joints not working in line or not being in alignment, at the expense of injuries. Let's get them to perform. This is how they're thinking. So the strength and conditioning programs are antiquated, meaning that they're old, they're ancient, they have old paradigms that are not based on longevity per se, or misplaced ideas of what longevity means. All right. And then beyond that, the athletic trainers and PTs and doctors are operating on the same paradigm. They want to intervene when stuff goes wrong. They want to intervene when stuff hits the fan. Okay. So whenever you're really hurt or you tore something or you're in pain, that's when they want to intervene. They want to give you the injection. Okay, the injection, the stem cells. They want to give you the operation. They want to give you, you name it, some treatment of some sort. But where in that are you, the athlete, actually empowered to have a long-lasting career? Like where is that in here? Like this all to me right now, if I'm looking at this objectively, guys, it all looks like pressure. Okay, there's pressure here, 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 there's pressure here. There's pressure all across the board. Okay, and as such, a lot of athletes base their entire career on survival mode. They're just trying to survive. That means they will do whatever it takes to get back on the court at the expense of their body, even if they're using their bones to run. Okay, they're literally collapsing their foot inward over and over and over into their bones and using their bones to actually run. But think, guys, think intuitively. What do you actually need to run? Your muscles, right? Your muscles should take the load, not your bones, not your ligaments, not your tendons. The reason why injuries happen is because we're loading our body into the passive structures like your bones and your ligaments, the things that should not be taking the load. We need to be putting force into our active structures, our muscles, our tendons, our fascia. Okay? And where in here are they teaching you about truly what needs to be done lifestyle-wise, nutrition, movement, to create the best healing environment in your body. But beyond that, the one that actually ensures, like truly ensures, proper mechanics. So that when you're running and when they're teaching this to you and they're doing strength and conditioning, they're actually teaching you proper mechanics from your foot up. If you have a flat foot, they correct it. If you have knees that buckle in, they correct it. If you have knees that bow out, they correct that. If your lower back hurts, they don't just ice it. They actually get to the root cause of the problem. If you have neck and shoulder problems, they don't put KT tape on it and say, hey, get back in the game. They actually address a root cause. And the root cause of any of these injuries, guys, a root cause is a lack of strength and a lack of mobility and a lack of awareness as to where your weaknesses are. That's the true cause of these injuries, is this. But you see, this would take time. This would take a complete revamp of how sports is even practiced. This would take a complete revamp of how a lot of these sports organizations operate. So in the meantime, you as the athlete have to take responsibility for your body because no one's going to care about you as much as you are. All right. Most teams are going to care about this: money, what you can do for their organization. Are you an asset? They're going to care about image, how it looks for the organization. Now, grant you, not every single organization is like this. There's a lot of great organizations out there. And as far as what I'm finding out that Pro Overseas treats their players really well. But even then, there is a lack of cohesive information surrounding the idea of how to handle these problems. And look, load management doesn't really help. Okay, it just takes some time off. But that doesn't really get to the root cause of the problem, because the root cause is how you're using your body during your sport. It's not that you just need a rest. It's how you use it. That means every time you're going into the weight room, every time you're going into training, the PT area, every time you're going into playing your sport, scrimmaging, they should be teaching you this in the scrimmage. What are proper foot mechanics when you sprint and change direction? What muscles do you need to feel? Okay, this is the stuff they need to talk about. What do you need to feel in your body, engagement-wise, when you get into the positions of your sport? Okay? And you think about this in terms of every position you have to get into for your sport. Defense, sprinting, jumping, changing direction, arms overhead, taking impact, arm barring someone, kicking, whatever sport you play, you need to ask yourself, what actually needs to engage? What actually needs to fire? How do I get my body to hold this engagement? What muscles need to fire in what sequence? And if we're not thinking like this and we're just using pure will to get to the line, okay, sprint here, sprint back, jump here, jump as high as you can. If we're using pure will or pure talent or just pure athletic gifts, then somewhere down the line, since we're not aware, we're going to get hurt. Simple as that. And this is where it needs to change. This time to actually teach athletes how to think about their body will require mindfulness, slowing down, teaching athletes about how to use your body 101, right? That's where the mental health piece needs to come into play, because if your mental health and your sense of worth is based on this, that's where your sense of worth is based on, you're going to burn out fast. Your mental health will go down the drain, which we're seeing happen. Ben Simmons, Simone Biles, all these athletes are having problems with their mental health because they're not seeing themselves accurately. They're seeing themselves how their organization hopes them to be when they're not actually meeting them where they are currently. Okay? So you have to be willing to take time to understand yourself. And if they're not showing you how to get from rehab an injury back to full out athletic performance. And not just performing, right? Because they can get you back in the gym as fast as possible. But I'm talking about elite. Okay, this is the stuff you guys care about anyway. You want to perform at the highest level. You want to be a great contributor because it gives you a sense of satisfaction that your body can actually accomplish something that you've dreamt of. Not just doing it because coach wants it, not just doing it because your teammates want it. You're doing it because you want it. You're doing it because you're the one that gets the greatest satisfaction from it. You gain a sense of intrinsic validation. You validate yourself. You're not trying to get validation from other people. And that is the place that you should be taught how to act from. But not teaching you how to get from here to here is a problem. Usually they do this, guys. They do this part and they throw you in so freaking early. Because how do those low grade movements actually prepare you for high grade stuff like cutting, landing, juking, changing direction? Those are high grade impact movements. And if they haven't prepared you enough and taken care of all the compensations, the weaknesses, the injuries, and that's the stuff along the way, right? So the weaknesses, the compensations from old injuries, other weaknesses you find along the way. If they're not doing this and focusing on these things and they just jump right back to this, that's where you get re-injured again and the frustration starts and that constant cycle of you jumping in too fast too soon, then being forced to sit out again happens. Okay, because you're trying to get back to your sport so fast because you're pressured by all of this. Okay, you want to get back so quickly. You'll do anything possible. Give me a massage, give me a chiropractic adjustment. I'll do whatever. Put a Theragun on it. But that's the reality. The reality is that people are okay with being forced to sit out, but not okay with proactively sitting out, taking time, 6 months, 8 months, 12 months to actually figure out, where am I weak? Where am I vulnerable? What am I supposed to know how to engage? What do I need to eat to actually heal my body, to make my joints unstoppable? What do I need to do with my lifestyle? How do I need to move? How do I need to take care of the body? Why do injuries happen in the first place? Do I understand my own anatomy? Do I understand my own physiology? Do I understand how the body works? Do I know how to run properly, jump properly, land properly? These are the things you should be taught if you're in a professional organization. Those are the things you should be taught. But instead, they're pushing you to practice and scrimmage as much as possible so they can pump out performance on a foundation that could be just based on pure will, but not a foundation that's based on you knowing what to feel and how to feel it, how to engage, how to move, how to properly have the best mechanics to be the most successful athlete you can be for the rest of your life. Not just for the next 4 years, not for the next 5 years, for the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years and beyond. Okay. And we have to ask ourselves, guys, what does that mean for you if you were able to really have that kind of longevity in your sport and be able to perform at this level for that long? What does that mean for you? Like, what does that do for you? What does that do for your earning potential, for your ability to make money? What does that do for your health and well-being? What does that do for your mental health? What does that do for your career dreams? Do you want to make playoffs? Do you want to win a championship? Do you want to win rings? Do you want to have accolades, accomplishments that really mean a lot to you? What does that mean for your family? Because everything you do here, the thing you love to do, your sport, affects everything else. Your relationships, your significant other. What does it mean for all of these aspects of who you are? Not just what does it do for basketball? What does it do for soccer? What does it do for tennis? You have to look at the whole picture here. Because if you're not looking at the whole picture, then something along the line is going to fall apart. Because if your mental health is shot because you're injured, something else in your life will fall apart. Your relationships will suffer. Your family and friend relationships will suffer. Mental health suffers. Your well-being suffers. You begin to gain weight. You get out of conditioning. Earning potential goes down. Okay, these are all the things that are beginning to happen to your body just because of one thing. And that one thing is typically the pressure that's added to an athlete or a player or a human being to perform, because their worth is all of a sudden based on all these extrinsic things, the things that are outside of them. They're not validating their sense of self-worth because they're human and because you are who you are. You got to take care of yourself because you're a human being first. You're an athlete second, not the other way around. Not an athlete first, a human being second. It's the former. Okay, you're a human being first, athlete second. Human beings operate on some basic fundamental laws. Okay, and those fundamental laws have to be followed, and that's what we're seeking to do with the Unstoppable Baller. Is first fill this gap in, the gap that happens between rehab and injury and performance. We fill it all in. We're not a rehab people. We're not performance people. We fill in the entire gap all the way from rehab to performance. So every step of the way is clear to you. You're not jumping steps. You're not going too fast, too soon. You're just taking your time, understanding how your body needs to work, what needs to engage. And you become aware. You will know as much as we know about the human body so that you know how to employ this for the rest of your career. You know how to stay injury-free. You know how to perform at the highest level. You know what's holding you back. This is what we want to give you. Okay? And that's what we're about. We're not about you just trying to get back to your sport. Everyone's trying to do that, right? Is throw you back in, you get hurt again, you're frustrated. No, we're about teaching you something that sticks, that lasts for the entire career, your entire life. Now, if that's something that interests you, that's something you're really into, then there's a link below. Click that link. It will give you a chance to sit down with one of us and we'll get on a call with you and go over exactly how this works. We'll look at your own personal biomechanics and tell you what's standing in your way. What awareness do you need? What is not engaging in your foot and your knee and your hip and your glutes to help you move in the way you need to? And once you have that information, we'll talk about what needs to happen in the next 6, 7, 8, 12 months in order for you to get from where you are, the injury, what you need to address over time to actually get back here. Okay. If it's a good fit, I'd love to work with you. But again, you got to ask yourself, what does that mean for this? What we're selling here, guys, to you is insurance, true insurance, not just what doctors tell you to do. We're selling something for the rest of your life. So you don't have to be pressured by all this. You're taking time for you. Okay. All right, team. If you have questions, comment below. Ask us any questions you want. If you have something you want us to cover, we will happily make a video for you. But more in the next video. Again, make sure you hit like, hit subscribe. Until next time, peace.